Hey you, my name is TomSka Ridgewell, and today I would like to introduce you to myself. For the past couple of years, I've been trying to regain a sense of sentimentality, and I've been diving deep into my past to better understand myself and how I got to where I am. Today, I'd like to share with you another chapter in the complete history of me. At 10 years old, I was accepted into King's College Prep School, which was a very expensive private school, so big up to my mum for footing that bill. I was no longer bullied for being a disruptive student. Instead, I was bullied for being poor and chubby. Damn it! Because of my weight, a teacher calls me Thomas Squidgewell, and soon Squidgewell, or just Squidge, becomes my accepted nickname. While hiding away from bullies in the school library, I start reading Gary Larson comics, and he becomes my first comedic inspiration. It wasn't all bad though. I made a handful of equally nerdy friends. None of them were girls though, because there were only 3 in my school year. My neighbor Johnny introduces me to Super Smash Bros. And oh my, this is my life now. My parents send me to woodworking classes, but the most creative I get is attaching a Digimon step counter to a jigsaw. I start selling overpriced contraband sweets and fireworks at school out of a tackle box. I genuinely think I had the potential to be a great drug dealer. The fact that I started collecting BB guns at this point is completely unrelated. On September 11th, 2001, I call a friend and ask if World War III is starting. He replies, "I don't know, man. I'm 11. One day at school, my friend Ruben shows me a webtoon by Tom Longchamp, and I have no idea what I'm looking at, but I instantly know that this is what I want to do for a living. Thinking I want to be an animator, I start animating in Microsoft PowerPoint. That's not an animation program, little Tom. We moved from our home in Cambridge to a town less than 2 miles away. I finally get a computer in my bedroom and instantly sign up to animation communities like Newgrounds, Stick Suicide, and Smosh under the username Squidgen. But mostly I play Neopets. A lot of Neopets. My parents were very concerned about the amount of time I was spending on the computer, and I told them it was teaching me the basics of economics. I leave private education and relocate to Cottonham Village College to be closer to my cousin. Finally, I won't be bullied for being the poor kid. Oh god, now I'm being bullied for being the private school kid. Why won't it stop? I upload my first ever animation to Smosh.com, a terrible 1-minute cartoon called New Camera. Inspired by the movie School of Rock, I start playing bass guitar. I get banned from Stick Suicide for being too annoying, and I return as Dark Squidge, only to get banned again. But it's there that I meet an animator called Ed Gould, and I pester him into being my friend. Ding dong, it's puberty. My voice breaks overnight, I develop severe acne, and I discover porn. Except when I was like 13, 18-year-old girls look super old, so whole lot of hentai. Puberty also brings a nasty temper, and I often break things just to vent my anger. I make my first ever voice acting appearance in Ed's cartoon, Bendy Sticks 7.
Who are you? That is not important.
A friend shows me a Weeble cartoon, which makes my first pie very exciting. Speaking of friends, I've awkwardly inserted myself into a couple groups at my new school. I'm pretty annoying and no one wants me there, but sucks to be them. Uh-oh, I've fallen in love with my best friend and I'm convinced she'll love me back if I'm a nice enough guy. Oh dear.
Then all of a sudden,
this probably isn't helped by me learning how women work exclusively through cheesy manga. We got a doggo! His name is Dudley, which was actually going to be my name before my mum intervened. I joined another animation community called the Lock Legion and start uploading animations under the username Dark Squidgelock. What does that mean? No one knows! But it's here that I meet another animator called Ben Smallman, aka Cloudlock, aka One Chop. Tom from Eddsworld makes his first appearance and I release my first ever live action video, which is very highbrow entertainment. At this point in my life, I don't know the difference between Smirnoff Ice and Smirnoff Vodka, so I think I'm a pretty hardcore drinker. I'm not. A webtoon called Bonus Stage introduces me to ska music, and I love it! And I also totally rip off Bonus Stage's art style. I go to my first ever ska show to see Real Big Fish, and very quickly discover what a mosh pit is and why I should never be in one. I try shaving for the first time, and I hate it. Never again. I get my first and only job as a part-time cleaner at my school. £5 a day, baby. Woohoo! I also have my first ever sexual experience with a woman. Over webcam. And let's just ignore that I'm 15 and she's 30. Ed gets diagnosed with cancer, and I hold myself personally responsible because I believe it's punishment from God because I masturbate too much. I am completely not joking. Religion is one hell of a drug. I pray to God and promise to never masturbate again if Ed's cancer goes away. Again, I am completely not fucking joking.
Kingdom of the dinosaurs! Kingdom of the dinosaurs! Rip off the face of the dinosaurs! Kingdom of the dinosaurs!
In lighter news though, my obsession with ska music only grows. I start wearing checkers because that's a ska thing apparently, and TomSka becomes my username. Following Ed, I make an account on a new video sharing website called YouTube. Prom rolls around. I don't have a date because I have 3 platonic friends who immediately distance themselves from me after secondary school ends. But I meet an artist on a website called Cheesy Art, and soon I have my first girlfriend. Let's ignore that I'm 16 and she's 19. My first relationship takes place almost exclusively through MSN Messenger, where I make my own emoticons because I'm super cool. I'm finally free of secondary school though, and my exam results are terrible. Remember those custom emoticons I made? Well, I've just turned them into a webcomic called Comics. I started attending Long Road 6th Form, which is actually the first time I've ever joined a school on the first day, which makes it a lot easier to make friends. I study English language, photography, film studies, and media studies because I know I want to be a filmmaker now. I make an entirely new group of equally nerdy, artistic, and passionate friends, and we call our little gang Cake Bomb. I upload my first ever video to YouTube called TomSka's Day Out. In anticipation of actually meeting my internet girlfriend, I lose a lot of weight and I'm almost in good shape for once. Oh boy, my first driving lesson. A child runs into the road and I almost kill them. Future driving lessons are now cancelled. I fly to New York to meet Abby for the first time. We meet in the manga section of a bookstore, and it's definitely one of the highlights of my life. We share my first kiss on the plane ride back to her place in far west New York, and I get the worst blue balls I've ever experienced, because if you recall, I'm going dry for God. But aside from that, I have a wonderful time, and it's genuinely very wholesome.
No.
I'm falling over, Abby. I'm falling over.
On the flight back to England, I'm so sad that I distract myself by brainstorming a new video idea I've had called Stuff Movie. Back home, I turn every piece of schoolwork into an excuse to make YouTube videos with my friends. Honestly, this period of my life will always be remembered as the simplest and happiest time. Spending time with friends, making videos for fun. It was pure, and it was good. Also, Ed's cancer went into remission, and I immediately started masturbating again. I'm sorry, God, it was just too hard. Meanwhile, my parents' marriage falls apart. And then they get back together. Crazy kids. And then Abby comes to visit.
We're too good at this.
We all go down to London to visit a webcomic convention, and while we're there, one of the attendees asks us to voice in their webtoon. When I get home, I write a blog post about how much that webtoon sucks. And that's how I met Eddie Bowley. Sorry, Eddie. I attend an open day at the University of Lincoln, and oh look, there's Chloe Dungate. We won't become friends for 2 more years. I only bother applying to Lincoln, so it's a good job that I get in. With the bare minimum grades. One day, while blasting new metal and playing Halo 3 with my best friend, I realized that this is the happiest I've ever been, and I permanently commit that moment to memory. My relationship with Abby, however, comes to a close, because over 2 years of long distancing is really hard. Driven by sadness once again, I finish writing Stuff Movie, and when a 13-year-old called James emails me and asks if he can animate something for me, well, you get Stuff Movie. Oh boy, 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. I've peaked! I move out of my parents' house and up to Lincoln to study media production at university. Both Stuff Movie and Eddsworld start getting serious traction on YouTube, and I have fans now? What? Ew. I've also developed a pretty huge crush on my best friend's sister, and when he finds out, it almost costs us our friendship. So I stopped talking to her altogether. Hell, I even go as far as to delete all my social media accounts. I'm a ghost. A weird pseudo-relationship with my other best friend takes its place, and soon I've lost my virginity. I wasn't really ready for it, but I was in a bad place at the time, and kinda just went with it. In tandem, my behavior as a human being takes a nosedive, and I start treating people, especially women, awfully. I'm manipulative and creepy, and it's inarguably a shameful part of my history. However, most of this behavior comes to an abrupt end when I enter a much healthier and happier relationship with a computer science student called Amy. Also, I've started putting all my time and energy into making comedy sketches for YouTube, which is probably why I passed my first year of university only 1% above a fail. And breathe. Thanks for listening to this part of my life, and I will see you again at some point in the future for the 3rd and final chapter in this series. TomSka out.